who is slightly afraid of flying. This was, it was such an exciting movie, but there's something like really thrilling about watching a plane crash, or in this case, a really, really rough landing in a movie. And what we've seen from this movie and shows like Lost, yeah, we get a thrill of it. So why do you guys think that is?
I think for me, we're all terrified of being in a plane or any very dangerous vehicle, but especially a plane when things go wrong. So when you're watching a movie, you get to be in there as if you're really in that plane, but you're not really having to go through it, but you feel like you are. It's so kind of enthralling and exciting and white knuckle, as if you're in the cockpit with the pilots and you're in it. So, because I think we have a fascination with what that must really be like when a plane is in trouble or is going to crash or is going to crash land. What was it like to be there and to go through that? And we take every step of that journey in this movie. There's no shortcuts. There's no escape. You're there for the long haul, and it's a hell of an action scene. And that's only the first act.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And, you guys do a lot of fight scenes in this movie, and you guys have done fight scenes in previous projects before. And Mike, for you specifically, you've done like Luke Cage, where it's like super powered and everything, but now you're just like kind of the ordinary guy. You both are. You're the ordinary guy, up against an army. What is that like for y'all to kind of just ground this a little bit?
I think like you said, you for actors, I think variety is the spice of life. I mean, having some sort of situation where you get to change it up a bit. It's nice to try different things. And I think the great thing about this movie, another interviewer said, it's like a classic 90s movie. We're not relying on a lot of CGI. This is not indestructible people. These are two people that are human. They are vulnerable, and they are outnumbered. And people like underdogs. And we're two underdogs fighting against a militia. And that seems to put us in a situation where everybody's going to immediately root for us, right? And then we're people that seem to be completely diametrically opposed, opposites. He's a captain of an airline, he comes with a certain background. You don't know much about me, but I'm in handcuffs and I've been accused of murder. And so we're on opposite ends of the spectrum. And all of a sudden it's like 30, 40 minutes after meeting, we got to partner up. And that moment of like him taking the handcuffs off my character, these are the things that make action movies work. And it's about character-driven movies as opposed to like explosions. Because when you explode things and you're shooting things and you're making things crash and all sorts of stuff, all that money you're spending on that, people really want to care about the character. And I don't care how great the movie is in terms of CGI and special effects. If people don't care who's getting punched in the face, it doesn't matter. And I think this movie takes us back in that way, in a good way.
Yeah, and you guys did such a fantastic job making, Mike, for your character, he's supposed to be this criminal and we really sympathize with him throughout. But I wanted to ask, Gerard, for you specifically, Mike, you can also answer, but, the plane sequence is just so you're spitting out all this like plane jargon, like you're just saying all this stuff. Like, what is it like to film that scene? It seemed claustrophobic at the same time to be in such a tight space.
Well, yeah, because we were in what was a very tight space with a camera crew. Sometimes they were placed outside the windshields, but other times they were actually in the cockpit with us. So, and let me explain, we're also on a gimbal, which violently throws you around, especially in the cockpit. So, and you didn't know which way it was going to go. Or if we go into a dive, which a lot of this movie is diving down through the storm, the gimbal had us so far over that at times I was sure it was gonna tip. So you're really immersed in the truth of that, which I think is also what draws the audience into it as well. They really feel like they're in this with you.
Yeah. The gimbal, like you said, the unpredictability of the gimbal. As actors, we're open to things. That's what our job is, to be open to the moment of what's happening. And if you toss us, we feel it, right? So the fun part about that is like we don't have to act as much as they're going to toss us around, and then you got to catch that. And the way Jean-Francois shot it, and I think, I'm not sure. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know when it was going to go forward, left, right, and you just react to that. And that feels visceral to the audience too, because they are there with you, and we all fly on planes, and we've all felt a little bit of turbulence. And that little bit of turbulence, I don't care if it's one drop, your stomach, you feel it, and you go, Okay, please don't let that happen again. Well, it happened again, and it kept happening. And then we had time as audience, as I think characters to sort of think about our lives, or we're gonna die. I mean, everybody's thinking the same thing. You're in a movie theater going, "Holy crap! What would you be thinking right now? I can't make a phone call. You know, what am I gonna do here? Am I gonna squeeze a stranger's hand next to me? Am I gonna hold on? Am I gonna cry? Am I gonna tell somebody I love them? Or what am I gonna do?" All that's happening right now, and I think that's what why the first act works so well.
Yeah, and even that part, like the whole of that storm sequence has so many elements to it. There's moments of desperation, there's moments where we're struck by lightning, and then there's other times where there's quiet realizations of the situation that we're in, you know, and it's almost spiritual in its element. And then back into, oh, hey, we have maybe another chance to do this. So it takes you on a very dynamic journey within what could just be called an action sequence, but there's so much humanity and different types of emotion and experience in there.
Yeah, thank you guys. I mean, such an adrenaline rush of a movie, and it's great talking to you guys, and I gotta let you go. So thank you guys.
Hey, we didn't even get to the rest of the movie.